party where people present slides and they can be of anything and you can speak of it or not. And she did, it was like 60s and they were homesteading and they had like no water and they were VW buses and low electricity, and it was like, it just seemed so cool in some ways. It was so 60s. And then I had her son in high school who had his 401k planned out by the time he graduated because he wanted nothing to do with it because he's a good rebellious son, I guess, you know, all of that. He's probably come close to the center. But Nancy just has this amazing spirit, and I'm going to let you read about her.
Well, and I want to say that Nancy, we bought these. Nancy was selling hats for Guatemalan, and we bought our Guatemala hats, so we had to wear them somewhere. And I really like them. And don't you like yours? Is it a hat? I think it's a hat. I don't know. She sold me a fridge too. 11 years ago, with kids up and gone, Nancy began spending increasingly more time in long-loved Latin America, doing human rights work in Chiapas, Mexico. Later, in an alliance with her siblings and partner, and with a compelling, Nancy?
Mayan woman. She told me I could skip that word.
Mayan woman, as guide, the nonprofit Guatemala Housing Alliance was formed on
Lago de Atlan.
in the highlands. When she isn't schlepping seafood or going home health care or doing home health care in Maine, she and her buddy are mixing mortar, laying block, and adventuring down south. So come and volunteer with them.
Schlepping sounds very Spanish to
Yeah.
me. All right.
Okay.
We present to you Nancy
Nancy Wynn.
Wynn.
5 years ago this week, my mother, Dorothy Wynn, died, leaving us as 5 orphaned middle-aged people living separated across the United States. And we wondered how we would stay together as a family without the hub of the family. And we ventured into Guatemala. And Guatemala is a beautiful country. It's about the size of Tennessee, has about 14 million people, more than half of which are Mayan, indigenous Mayan people. It's also a very poor country. 75% of the rural dwellers live on less than $2 a day, 25% on less than $1 a day. We came to the highlands of Guatemala. This is Lago de Atitlan, Lake Atitlan. It's in the caldera of an ancient volcano, and it's surrounded by volcanoes. And there we met a wonderful woman. Her name is Miriam Navichok, and she herself is Zutuhil Mayan. She would become the director of what is now Guatemala Housing Alliance. We've been a nonprofit now for 2 years, and Miriam guides us to the needs of her community and also helps us avoid the pitfalls of working in a foreign culture. She lives in the town of San Juan La Laguna. This is where our office is. It's on the south side of Lake Atitlan. It has these beautiful murals all through the town depicting things of the Mayan culture. One of the components of poverty in Guatemala is lousy housing. The next photo is the house of Angelica. She works full-time, planting at a nursery. She earns $60 a month after transportation costs to raise 2 children. And that is so you and I can have cheap poinsettias at Christmas time, because that's what free trade does. The next house is that of Apollonia and Moises. It's made out of corn stalks, and the wind and the rain would just blow through there. They were also robbed of the few things they had, their supply of corn for food, because they had no security there. And one of the first houses we built was to replace this house. The families that we build for have to carry every block, every bag of cement. In this case, it was the equivalent of about a city block down through the coffee bushes. You'll see a lot of rebar in our build because we're in a high seismic area. Our houses are small. They're about 15 by 18 feet, 2 rooms, 3 windows and a door. Moises is in the foreground here. The family member has to work along with us, and the family pays a quarter of the price of the house. It costs about $2,400. They pay over 5 years with no interest. It comes out to about $8 a month, which is still a challenge. We put stucco on them to secure them against the rain. And this is the finished product. They're very proud. We've been to visit, and they keep it immaculately clean inside. They chose the blue for the windows and the doors and the red for the floor. This is a house that's made of adobe. The house structure itself was good, but the floor, being a dirt floor, is full of parasites. By putting down a cement floor, you have a 20% less incidence of anemia, 13% less diarrhea, and language skills for children in school go up 30% when they are not competing with the parasites for their nutrition. A house like this cost $100 or $150 to put down the floor. Takes a day or two to do it, and the family again pays 25% of the cost. We love our volunteers. We hope you guys might consider coming to volunteer with us. It takes about 9 days to build a house. You can also come do a floor, which takes a day or two. You have a very rewarding experience with the family you're building with. We also have scholarships for the children. On average, a child in Guatemala goes to school 3.5 years, 1.8 years for an indigenous girl. This year we've had 31 scholarship children. Almost all of them are either orphans or have only one parent. We hope to double that this next year. One of the things we require of our scholarship kids is that they do community service, and here they are cleaning up around the lake. This woman has just received a stove that we built. A stove like this replaces the way she was building with an open fire, which is very bad for your respiratory system, and her eyes were always aching. Most people have no ventilation, so a stove like that costs about $100. This is the school kitchen in Pasa Hakim. It serves 358 students, has a dirt floor made of scavenged materials and an open fire. We hope to replace that within the next few months. And the next picture is of an earth block press. We hope to change from using cement blocks and using these earth blocks, which we can make with the proper ratio of lime and clay. We'll have one in the back if anyone would like to see a brick made out of this. So now we're 2 years into our project. We've been a nonprofit for 2 years. By the end of the year, we will have built 12 houses, maybe 13. We've done 22 floors and several roof replacements, and the scholarship program. And this is all my mother's legacy, and I'd like to read from a poem that my sister wrote 5 years ago while my mom was dying. No greater gift can a soul bestow upon a family unit than to be the glue that binds their hearts despite the miles between them, that nurtures love that freely flows from hand to hand they're holding, and forms the base of all their strength as each day is unfolding. But stronger still, the bonds between the sisters and the brothers is testament to the depth of love bestowed by best of mothers.
Another page.
Well done.
Okay, our next presenter is Maureen Farr. Maureen, she's a great artist. I have to say she's the mother of the Cary Grant of French poodles.